Okay, let's do 20.
Yeah. Sing.
Oh, we can't. Okay. No, I did it too early.
All right,
That's
30.
my
Let's
fault.
do 30.
Let's do 30. Time to breathe. Sink.
I was like, that's a bit quick on the draw, but let's go.
Let's go. Let's do it.
Ugh.
I was like, what? I refused to give myself a countdown? What was that about? Tinkerbell and was it The Secret of the NeverBeast?
The Legend, I believe, of the NeverBeast. I believe it's the Legend. We already had a secret, right?
That's true. We got The Secret of the Wings, the worst one. And spoilers, this one might be the best one.
I was so happy that everything that I've heard over the last 7 years about this movie has been completely true.
It's baffling to me because we watched so many of them. They were all bad.
They were
like,
all...
to different variables of bad. But, this one was, a genuinely, kind of a good movie.
This went down like the smoothest glass of cold water. I, blinked and I was over. And I was like, wow.
Welcome to Direct-to-Video.
VHS?
A podcast where we pair movies like fine line. Finally, we are at the end of the Disney fairy movies.
The final story in the Tinkerbell saga.
The funny thing about this one is it doesn't... I mean, it's a good movie, which is wild, but it doesn't, wrap anything up.
No.
This was not meant to be, the last movie. And this is clearly them still trying to do the thing they tried to do in the Pirate Fairy, which is, expand it beyond Tinkerbell.
Yeah, this is a movie, this is all about Fawn. This should have been called Fawn and the Legend of the NeverBeast, because Tinkerbell isn't even in this movie.
She's little in this movie. She's more in this movie than the other fairies who aren't Fawn. Except for the newly introduced, extremely lesbian-coded fairies.
Have you ever seen, one of those old Sherlock Holmes movies? Or the Poirot TV series from, the 80s? There's always a person in those episodes or in those movies who comes in at about minute 30, minute 45, who's like, I have the missing piece of evidence that you needed to understand this case, Sherlock Holmes. Here it is. That is the function that Tinkerbell serves in this movie.
It kind of is. I forgot. Literally the worst part of the movie is what Tinkerbell does. I saw that bit and I was like, this is a bit of a stretch.
This was not... Not only is this not necessary, that this didn't need to happen, but also it makes no sense.
Weird that tree disappeared.
Yeah, or why did he just let the tree fall on him? He would have been fine.
Or why didn't he just, intercept that lightning bolt like he was doing with all the other lightning bolts?
This is the equivalent of me being like, oh my god, this child is about to get hit by a car. I'm gonna shoot him with this gun. And hope that it gets him out of the way. But we've gotten ahead of ourselves.
But we have. The NeverBeast movie actually opens with a poem.
Is it the poem? I wasn't sure.
Is there an actual poem? Oh, I don't
because there's an actual poem, right, in Peter Pan.
If it is, then I can forgive the one thing about this poem that made me weirdly mad. At the end of it, it says something awakes, and I was like, why are they being coy? Say the NeverBeast wakes. It made me weirdly annoyed because I was like, I already know it's the NeverBeast. I clicked on this movie. It's called The Legend of the NeverBeast. This is me already trying to pick apart stuff in this fairly good movie. Anyway, get the overhead of the flyby shots of Neverland and this comet and a sleeping monster that wakes up. Boom. Smash cut. It's Fawn the fairy. She, in the newest fan theory, causes the fairy apocalypse via hawk.
I think this is the second time, right? This is the second time that a movie has decided that, well, if Tinkerbell isn't going to be the main character, we need to turn one of these characters into Tinkerbell. We are incapable of writing a story that does not involve the destabilization of fairy society.
As I was watching it, I like fucking dealt with the fact that was kind of annoying because it was maybe the best version of these movies that we've gotten. But it was odd because, like, I don't know that much about Fawn as a character, but I don't think she's a giant fuck up.
Yeah, to me, right, it's one of those things where, and Tinkerbell says as much, like, mischief didn't exist until Tinkerbell was born. Like, like the idea of counterculture didn't exist until Tinkerbell was born. And so maybe it's her rubbing off on all these other fairies. She's teaching them how to be troublesome. But it's weird to get so much characterization for this character who we've seen for 5 movies. And just now we're learning that she has a habit of caring for dangerous creatures. Some would say that she has like a compendium of incredible beasts and knows where to find them. We're not saying that, but someone could.
It's weird because we've only ever seen Fawn with, I feel like, finches and rabbits. Just like normal little beasties for fairies to hang out with.
We did we? I feel like we kind of got ahead of the jump here, though, because we did the comet-based prophecy. I love a good comet-based prophecy. I think comets are like they're like a great astrological timekeep.
They're a great astrological time.
Yeah, yes. But like, I don't know, like Halley's Comet and like Halley type comets. I love the idea of like, oh, we keep time using these comets and they are on a scale of like hundreds of years, right? As opposed to days, which I think is pretty rad. The problem is that I could not find a comet that had a period of over 200 years.
I mean, here's the problem. Even if there was, the only way to determine it would be to use some high-level math to figure out when it would come by again, because we don't have that many surviving texts from, I think with this comet, 900 years ago. I mean, we have some, but they're not all, like, astrological, and even if they were, there would have to be somebody who was looking at comets, marking that down, and then 900 years later, somebody else would have to do it.
In the same place. 900 years is so long, right? Like...
And there is a bit where that's really hammered home.
Yeah, right. No, absolutely. They definitely use it to the full effect, but I feel like they could have made it 100 years, right? Like
100 years. It could be. This could have been Halley's Comet, which is, I think, like 80 years?
75? I'm not sure.
Sure, somewhere around that.
I'm looking it up. 75 to 76 years.
Okay.
So we're both right.
Which would be, a human lifetime, and by extension, I think, a fairy lifetime?
This is the thing, right? Is what is, one, how does time work on Neverland? Does time pass on Neverland at the same time as on human land, or is it slower, or is it faster? What's fairy lifespan like? I mean, if one is born every time a baby laughs, that's like a lot of fairies. I would assume they'd have to be dying at about the same rate as humans, but who knows?
The first time a fairy laughs. A child laughs.
The first time a baby laughs, sure.
So, geez, yeah, no, this is... It feels like it must be a 1-to-1, but it's impossible to tell.
The problem is magic. Doesn't let me know. They have magic.
Yeah, and also, like, I think in the Disneyfied version of Neverland, people don't age. Do fairies still age? Obviously, there are older fairies and younger fairies, but like...
Clearly they die out at some point, right? Because if otherwise this wouldn't be a problem. It would just be, we'll see you in 900 years, buddy.
Yeah. Clearly they die out because there's a lot of reasons why it's obvious they die out, but...
Yeah, and also at some point, the great mass fairy extinction happens and Tinkerbell becomes the only one left, which, like, without even bringing that up.
Right, sure. Anyway.
So, this secret hawk causes widespread panic.
Yeah, it's cute. It's a cute hawk, but it's a hawk, and these are fairies who are small enough to be eaten by hawks. They do at one point quote Star Wars at me, which I thought was a little offensive.
Yeah, was this before...
I don't know. That's what I was wondering. Whether this was before Disney acquired Star Wars, or if this was like right then, and one of their first things they did was have a very safe fly casual.
God, that was in 2012, so that was 2 years. This was 2 years after. I mean, I would think it's wild that they got this joke in during the production of this movie and then also didn't know that their studio was about to get shut down forever.
So there's a couple things with this hawk scene. Everybody freaks out because what happens is the baby hawk starts screaming and crying for its mother, and a bunch of like adult hawks come in because they're like, a baby hawk in trouble.
Armchair screenwriter here. 3 hawks is a bit much. You could have just made it 1. You could have just had it be its mom.
Yeah, that'd be fair. I also feel like 3 hawks, like you never see 3 hawks together, right? That's too many hawks.
I think the most I've ever seen is 2, and they're usually either fighting each other or doing other things.
Right, like you only see 2 hawks together if they're like nesting to make it PG.
3, just, it's company, right?
Yes.
You could have done a Land Before Time here, right? Just had 2 parent hawks show up, and that's fine. I don't know why 3 would had to be the number.
I don't know. They were having fun with it.
Yeah, it was a lot.
There was a bear cub, and this bear cub irritates the hell out of me for multiple reasons.
Shouldn't fear the hawks.
Yes, number 1. Most important reason. However, there's a second reason. Why are hawks dangerous, but not. Bears aren't? It's a bear! It's
this bear is going to grow up and eat fairies. It has to.
He's
right?
gonna get bigger. But what if he's on our side?
He's gonna need that protein. Is that the goal? Is the idea like, well, we'll have a bear on our side?
How does a bear even
to defend us from the hawks? Well, they have fish, right? Like
maybe.
It's also a brown bear, which means it's gonna be fucking massive.
We're introduced to Nyx and the Scouts.
This is a new class of fairy.
They are exceptionally lesbian.
And cops.
And here's the thing. Kind of bad at being cops. I was going to say kind of bad at being both of those things, but I mean, I'm sure they're great at being lesbians.
I would hope they are. Or they're not, and it's the sexual tension at like the scout hut is like through the roof.
Well, there's something between Nyx and Fawn. Every look they have is a significant look. Like, they have so much history.
I hate everything about this. The implication of like having a soldier squad of fairies gives me.
I get what they're trying to do rangers, right?
Yeah. This is supposed to be a Strider character.
It's not working.
No.
It's not working. She just... What Nyx ends up being...
Nyx is the cop in the small town who's pulled over Fawn one too many times. Like, right, yes. That is their relationship.
Except for the fact that they do genuinely, like, seem into each other sometimes. And I don't know if that's a fairy thing, if it's just, like... If it's something that's really easy to read into because there are mostly female characters in the fairy movies.
Yeah, no, I absolutely think that has something to do with it.
Or if it's just that, like, these people did want to write a story like that and weren't allowed. I mean, that's fairly obvious because there was the movie where everybody had to get into a heterosexual relationship immediately at the end.
All those characters, by the way, gone. Every single one of those male characters has absolutely been gutted from this film.
Do you know the best part about that, too? Is they actually go to winter again. And so there was a reason to see some of the winter fairies, and they're just not there.
They're not there. Also, I was going to bring this up at the time, but I might as well bring it up now. They've solved the problem of their wings freezing in Winterland, I guess.
Yeah, I think they're supposed to be putting frost on them, but they seem like they're just ignoring it.
We've invented coats. We figured it out.
But they're flying. Like, their wings are out. Like, this shouldn't be allowed. This is the first movie that seems like it's willing to, like, break canon to make itself work.
And I think I know part of the reason why, which is, like, this is, like, an entirely new team of writer-directors, right?
Is that what's happening?
Well, yeah, the director of this movie is some guy named Steve Loader, who the only other thing he's done is he directed a ton of Disney TV shows. Kim Possible, Buzz Lightyear Star Command, Tarzan, the TV series. Way back when he was like a director for Ren and Stimpy. But this is the first time he has touched the Disney Fairies property. And it seems like him and his co-writer were just like, let's throw it all out.
That was probably for the best. Again, this is the one that works. I think the fairy movies were being bogged down by their own lore.
Well, it's the first one to me that worked since the first one, right? Because it does
maybe the second one.
It does something that the first and second one do that I kind of missed, which is it just starts throwing proper nouns at you. and it just doesn't care. Like, these are the Scout Fairies, and this is the NeverBeast, and this comet comes around every 900 years, and I'm just like, oh my god, like, what? That kind of haphazard, like, and it's for babies, right? Like, the 10-year-old girl who watched the original Tinkerbell movie isn't watching this movie. Her little sister is.
Right. Although if that girl sits down and was like, well, I guess I'll watch this movie with you, she's going to be like, damn, this is a fucking deep movie about this NeverBeast.
Oh my god, this movie's intense. There
is a bit that is legitimately straight out of a Guillermo del Toro movie. And that movie is Hellboy.
Yes.
We'll get there. So the scouts chase off all the hawks and capture the baby one, and Fawn gets a kind of fun dressing down from the queen, where Fawn dresses herself down the whole time. She's like, yeah, I should have done this, I should have done this, I should have done that. And so she decides she's got to turn over a new leaf, not gonna do any dumb forest fairy stuff. What's she, an animal fairy? Whatever.
She's an animal fairy.
She's not going to do any dumb animal fairy stuff. Then immediately the next day she's like, weird animal sound. I guess I'll go check that out.
Yeah, so that we also get the ostensibly what the theme of this movie is supposed to be, which is, don't just listen with your heart, also listen to your head.
Okay.
And I say that because they bring it back at the climax of this film, and I'm just like, okay, so this is what the movie is supposed to be about.
I guess.
Here's
what this movie is. This movie, at its core, is basically Lilo and Stitch. Now, Lilo and Stitch is a better version of this.
I was going to say C-Spot Run, but I guess that strikes the same chord.
But yes, that it is a friendship movie and or a person and a dog movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Turner and Hooch.
Yes, this movie
now
is
on Disney Plus.
Like Turner and Hooch. Do you think if we started advertising for Disney Plus and maybe swore a little less, they'd be...
We'd probably do a little bit better on the SEO. Can you fucking believe that they did a Turner and Hooch remake? What the fuck is that?
It's a TV show, I think.
That's even wilder.
It is.
Is the first episode just the first movie? Is just the movie that he just becomes friends at the end? Because I can't imagine they can maintain the tension of not liking your dog partner for like an entire season. I don't know. I'm not going to watch it.
Not until our spin-off podcast. Tony and Andy and Turner and Hooch.
I don't want to ask, but which of us is Hooch?
That's, you know what? We have to decide it at the end of each episode.
Episode? Who the
Hooch is this time.
Jesus Christ, no. So the primary tension of this movie is between Nyx and Fawn, which is also where all the sexual tension is, until I get the introduction of, the third axis of this love triangle. The idea being that Nyx only wants to protect Pixie Hollow from all sorts of dangerous things, because that's her job, but also Fawn wants to help animals because that's in her nature.
And is also her job.
And is also her job.
Frankly... if this has been an ongoing problem, she should have some sort of predator protection reserve outside of Fairy Hollow where she can look after, injured owls and hawks and shit.
I mean, they have a fucking bear in, Central Land, in, Main Street, Pixie Hollow, right? I don't understand why that fairy gets to get away with having a bear and she can't get away with having a baby hawk.
I don't know either, Andy. I can't tell you. Maybe it's because bears aren't obligate carnivores and hawks are.
You know what? That's fair. That bear could survive off of berries.
Maybe they give them enough berries.
And are primarily pescatarians. So we hear an ominous whining roar coming from the densest of Silent Hill fog. And Fawn naturally thinks, well, I gotta check this out.
Yeah, so she goes in there to part of the part of Neverland that we've never seen. It looks like where the hyenas hang out in The Lion King.
It's all dead trees, and the implication to me is that a comet landed here because that's what it looks like, right? Like you have all these jagged rocks sticking up, and it gave me the impression that like this NeverBeast is like a fallen angel that has dedicated itself to protecting Pixie Hollow from this weird, almost Galactus at the end of Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer like storm that comes every 900 years to try and eat it.
This is getting more and more Hellboy, and we're not even at the Hellboy part.
We're at the Hellboy part.
I forgot that Galactus was a storm in that movie.
I did not, because my brain hates me. This movie also ends the exact same way that movie does.
Yeah, but this movie does it better. So it turns out this giant creature that she finds in a big old hovel has a thorn in its paw. Classic mouse and lion stuff, right?
Yeah.
Here's the thing, that thorn is barely in there.
It really is not much. For how intelligent this creature is, I don't understand why it can't pull it out with its teeth.
I don't want to belabor this because like you have to buy into this to get to the rest of the movie. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It has a prehensile tail that's pretty thin at the end, and I feel like it could just pluck it out.
Maybe it just doesn't have the control that it needs at the very tip, right? Because it throws that thing around like a whip, you know.
Yeah,
you don't want to like. I feel like there are a million ways this problem could have been solved, but regardless, this chimera beast is just not having a great time with this thorn in its foot.
Mm-hmm.
It's really getting in the way of its attempt to build these things.
Weird spires. The NeverBeast, do you know what it looks like? It looks like a sky bison from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I couldn't say because I have only seen the first 2 seasons of that show and it just didn't feel right coming from me, but yes.
Well, it does, trust me.
Oh, just because I was curious and I needed to check real quick. Silver Surfer was played by Doug Jones in that movie, so there's our another Guillermo del Toro connection.
Wow. Yeah, I forgot that he was the Silver Surfer.
Voiced by Lawrence Fishburne, which just has to feel bad anytime you're in that position,
right?
I like Lawrence Fishburne.
No, just vaguely disappointing for Doug, where he's like, he went to all the trouble to play this character. I assume if he was playing this character, that means that is a lot of practical makeup and not just CGI, and then to get his voice replaced.
I think at this point in like movie, like CGI wasn't good enough, right? I would think it was just him wearing like a weird, like silvery makeup, which has to be irritating to just have to do.
Right? It must be awful. So yeah, she sort of tricks the NeverBeast into standing still enough for her to pull the thorn out. And the NeverBeast's reaction to this is kind of great, because the NeverBeast is an angry old man.
The oldest, angriest man.
He's like the old man in the beginning of Up.
He's in the whole movie, Tony.
Before he's made any friends.
No, yeah, he definitely...
I thought the old man was... like, left and was replaced by a happier old man.
By a happier old man. Rip in peace to Ed Asner, man.
Yeah.
Didn't he just pass away? It sucks. So this old beast mm-hmm. takes to Fawn like a thing that doesn't take to another thing.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a good comparison, but it's like Fawn, who is our protagonist in this movie, is the annoying sidekick character.
Like Sonic and Tails.
And it's like Sonic and Tails, but where Tails is specifically like your little brother playing Tails. You're like, I'm just trying to play this game.
I desperately want to beat this level.
I'm just trying to build the spires so we don't all die, and here you are, chattering about, trying to draw pictures of me.
Just getting in the way. I love this little montage. Once again, the songs are just abysmal, terrible.
I think the songs in this movie are a step above the songs in the other movies. And I don't know if it was that I was enjoying this movie a little more.
hard to say. I agree with you, but it is hard to say.
Yeah.
Still a little too Phil Collins for me.
Where they're describing exactly what's happening.
But
yeah. There is a great bit, I think just before the song, where she goes to where Fawn goes to like pick up her stuff so she can keep notes on the NeverBeast. And she runs into Nyx, who's been investigating the roar.
Because if there is a newborn baby predator out there, Nyx is going to find it and murder it in its crib.
That seems to be her deal. And she's like so fucking aggro in this movie. And as far as I can tell, there has actually never... I think her problem... She has a completely unnecessary job.
Well, this is... And this is the problem, right? Is like... If it's... Here's the thing. Is if it's not in Pixie Hollow, it's not a threat. All right, Nyx? Focus on your jurisdiction. Go beat your husband, girl boss. Like, get out of here. You're just... Like, it's not your problem. If something roars in fucking Neverland, there were pirates.
Yeah, she didn't take care of those pirates.
She didn't take care of those. What they did seem to do was they took, and we'll talk about it later, maybe,
they took the horrible thing that the other fairy did, that freaking Doc Ock did, and was like, yeah, now cops are using it. That means it's good. What I like about the scene is I fully expected Fawn to be a worse liar. But instead of lying and saying that she doesn't know, like, what Nyx is talking about when she asks about the NeverBeast, she is obtusely annoying in a way that strikes me that, like, oh, this is just how Nyx always sees her. And she's, like, playing into it. And I kind of loved that.
It is very funny. It's great to just see her turn herself up to 11. Mm-hmm. I can't lie to her because she'll know. So I'm just going to just be unhelpfully helpful.
Which isn't to say that Fawn makes good decisions.
No, because she's about to go break the number one rule of anthropology.
I need you to define this rule for me.
You don't interfere.
Okay, right? Fair. Star Trek.
Yeah, it's the Star Trek thing, right? But and I say anthropology because I don't remember what the name of people who study animals is. Zoologists, I guess. But like the number one rule is always don't leave evidence, don't be seen, don't interfere. Let it do its thing.
It's difficult with fairies though, because fairies paint the butterflies for spring. So like, what is interfering?
Yeah, at what point is Do you think that maybe that there's like a natural order of Earth that existed pre-fairies, and they've just been bending it to their whim?
Maybe.
Because they can. Who knows?
That'd be fascinating. I don't know if we described this well enough. The NeverBeast, who she names Gruff, is building these towers for some reason out of rock and spit.
To ascend to heaven.
Nobody knows. Maybe
the NeverBeast was cursed by God for daring to build too high.
Man, more questions than it answers, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So she decides to, because now they're friends, she dumps some fairy dust on the rocks so they're easier for him to move. And they get into like all these games playing with them. This causes, basically, the NeverBeast to catapult a bunch of rocks into Fairy Hollow, which is, for some reason, I mean, yeah, it's bad, obviously. Like, oh, this is a very dangerous thing that she did. But the scouts seem to take it as like an attack.
Oh, this is what they've been waiting for, right?
This is what monsters in the woods do, is throw rocks at you. So she's like, she realizes she fucked up, and her idea of fixing this is also the bit where she continues to make some whack decisions. Her idea of fixing this is to take Gruff into Pixie Hollow.
Well, not before we have an exhilarating chase where...
Oh, yeah. Actually, I almost forgot about this.
Because Nyx goes up to investigate, sees, boulders and shit around, and chases it into the woods, following the broken branches it's leaving behind. Loses it because it jumps off a cliff and question mark ends up underneath it somehow.
It can use its tail like an opossum tail, and I guess that's what it's doing?
Oh, yeah, actually, fun fact. The two species that she names are a common opossum and an extinct species of bison.
Okay, that's what I suspected.
Didelphis marsupialis and Bison occidentalis. I looked it up because I needed to know, like, are the writers actually, like, referencing something, or are they just doing bullshit? But no, yeah, these are actual things.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense because when they were designing the NeverBeast, they probably thought, like, okay, well, what can this thing do? Well, let's do bison and opossum. A bison that can climb.
Yeah, and then some other wild stuff. This, Nyx decides to go to the only place she knows where she can learn about weird creatures, the local library.
There is an unfortunate scene where the nerd fairy is into her. I didn't like it.
Yeah, I hate this nerd fairy. I hate everything he stands for. I don't understand why he's in this movie. This role could have been filled by a number of other fairies. Hell, it could have been filled by Tinkerbell.
Tinkerbell would never be seen reading a book.
That's true.
She builds things, breaks things accidentally. That's her deal.
It could have been done by Bobble or Bibble or whoever those two were, who are also not in this movie, bafflingly.
Bobble and Clank, I think.
Bobble and Clank. I don't understand why it had to be this nerd fairy who sucks.
I do want to mention something really quick when I mention that, like, this scene and these jokes don't land and it's not great. Most of this movie has the charm of the early movies again. Like, there are jokes that are landing again. And yes. I feel like it's been so long since we really got some of those. There were some of them in the last movie. But, like, this one, it felt like these movies were good again.
It was fun. I was smiling the whole time I watched this movie. I wasn't miserable. I wasn't confused.
She discovers this page pinned on this guy's, conspiracy board of the picture of the NeverBeast, because he's been researching the comet. And she takes it over to the Queen, and Fawn is going to go see the Queen to introduce her to the NeverBeast so everybody knows it's not dangerous. And so they end up accidentally in a meeting together with the NeverBeast hovering outside because, like I was about to say before, she brought the NeverBeast
to town. And somehow nobody notices.
Not only does nobody notice, but it bothers me that her friends helped her do this bad idea. And she didn't just say to the Fairy Queen, there's something in the forest, I think you should see it, it's important, it's not dangerous.
Yeah.
The Fairy Queen's got wings. I know she don't have any legs, but she's got wings.
Yeah, you don't need those to fly. I've seen Gundam. The legs are only for aesthetic purposes anyway. This meeting is possibly the closest these movies have to, like, becoming a thriller. This massive creature is hanging around outside, and the Queen and Nyx are discussing, like, how it's terrible, how it's going to bring about the apocalypse.
Yes. So this is important. This creature's going to bring about the apocalypse?
Yeah. It's 972 years ago. This same comet flew by. Again, weird specific number. This comet flew by, and apparently there was someone around and decided to write this down. With it came this NeverBeast, and it built these 4 spires, one in every season, and then using that, it summoned a massive green storm that it used to destroy all of Pixie Hollow.
Yes, here's the thing. There are no words with this. This is just from pictures that Nyx has found. There's a correlation-causation problem here, which I think an astute viewer can spot pretty much immediately.
And now this is the problem with cops or any militarized force, right? They'll twist any narrative to suit the use of force that they want to have, right? Once you give an inch, they take a mile, invent a myriad of other bad things that are needed to maintain that level of martial law. This militarized faction is the beginning of the end of Pixie Hollow, right? Like, they're just going to take more and more and more until eventually, it's just a dystopic fascist state.
She does have a porcupine quill that she uses to fight, though.
Yeah, she does. It's super lame. I don't understand why they don't just have spears. Like, there are scout fairies with bows and arrows, with bolas.
Yep.
But most of them have these dumb little porcupine quills. Like, tie it to a stick, make it a spear, or put a handle on it and make it a sword. Why is it just a quill? They're not even barbed, which would have been something.
They're probably dangerous to wield while they're barbed.
Harpoons. Yeah, if your primary job is hunting predators, harpoons are right there.
Yeah, work better than those bows. I kept on looking at those bows thinking, what are they going to do with those? And the answer is mostly shoot their own stuff so it spews gas everywhere. Or powder, rather.
Oh, they also have tear gas. I forgot about that.
Basically do.
So, I lost myself a little bit there.
So anyway, Fawn is creating her own problems by bringing the NeverBeast in. She has to really try to hedge what Nyx is saying, and she's like, animals don't do this. This isn't an animal thing. Animals don't create storms and destroy stuff. And Nyx is like, this one does.
This is what this is a thing that fairies do.
The thing that irritates me is that the queen could have done some leading here and said what she wanted, but she just tells both of them that she trusts them. And so Nyx is like, got it. Time to go hunting for a NeverBeast.
This is the ultimate delegation I have ever seen.
She's such a fucking politician here, which is weird, because at this point she should just be the leader.
Well, I like the idea that, like, no matter what happens, she can say that it was her idea. Right? This is how she maintains power.
And it wasn't her idea.
Yeah.
Oh, you misunderstood me.
This is some fucking Jedi shit, right? Like, this is some Yoda shit where you could just say whatever, like, mystic, crappy, vague thing you want and then later be like, yes, my plan this was. Like, no, it wasn't. You didn't plan shit.
If we get hate mail, there's going to be more about the Yoda thing than the cop thing.
If anybody is defending Yoda at this point, I think, like, this isn't like baby Grogu, who we all love. This is Yoda.
Okay, but be careful when you're talking about the person who is most likely Grogu's canonical father.
Are you serious? So what, Palpatine and Yoda fuck now?
I'm a little serious. Grogu is 50 years old.
What?
That's how long this species stays a baby, because they grow to be so old. Yoda's like 900, right?
Oh, I guess that's true.
So Grogu was like at the Jedi Temple at one point.
He had to be.
Right. He was trained at some point as a baby.
He had to be in the room, right? When Anakin murdered all those kids.
Or was spirited away. I don't know. But yes, basically.
Yeah, maybe. Did you ever, you know how at the beginning of Justice League where all the Amazons are like trying to keep the mother box away from the guy?
You think
and it's like a really fun. Do you think the Jedi teens did that with Grogu while Anakin was just taking him down?
Protect the most precious one.
The youngest and oldest of us.
Protect Grogu, he's the wisest.
He's the wisest.
So there is a great line that I wanted to highlight. And the NeverBeast sneezes, and Rosetta says, "Oh, gross, my mouth was open." And, and Vidia's like, "It's always open."
Oh, such a cutthroat line.
At some point, they allowed Vidia to be savage again, and I'm here for it.
I wish Vidia had more to do in this movie.
Yeah, she just comes in with the lines occasionally.
Like, there isn't enough of her and Tinkerbell in this movie that we get that, like, juicy interaction that I want them to have. Mm-hmm. Fawn explains this legend to the rest of the group, and they're like, hey, listen, if there is even a 1% possibility that this legend is true...
I'm a little mad at them for immediately buying into this legend, but I have to... The only other legend I've heard about was completely true.
Right? It was 100% accurate, down to the directions. Like,
yes, down to the directions and where to find the broken ship. So, like, I get it.
So the plan that Fawn has then is, I'm just going to move him. I'm going to take him somewhere where he can't hurt anybody. Mm-hmm. I don't know what that means. Is there, like, maybe is she going to take him to, like...
Get it off the island? I don't know what the plan is.
Take it to the fucking human world? Like...
Yeah, that'll be safe for everybody.
Now this movie gets to end like Jurassic Park 2.
Yeah, no, I don't know what she plans for it, but it doesn't matter because he's not listening. He's going to build more towers.
Yeah, his job isn't done, and he's behind schedule.
Yeah, he is. He spends too much time hanging around with this fairy. She's been slowing him down. And now the green clouds are blowing in, just like in the legend. It's bad. He's got to build those towers for some reason. Probably to get the energy from the green cloud so he can turn evil and kill everybody.
Yeah, I assume that's why he's doing it.
So, I'm mad. You know what? I'll say it later. Keep going.
Yeah. We'll have plenty of time. There's a whole scene dedicated to this thing. I know exactly what you're talking about. So the Fawn wakes up. He's gone. She goes to look for him. Tinkerbell, I don't remember what the confluence of events is, but she ends up confronting Fawn, like, hey.
Everybody's going inside because of the coming storm. And Tinkerbell's like, where's Fawn? So she goes to get Fawn. Fawn's like, I lost the NeverBeast.
I lost him. I can't find him. There are only two places he can be. He's either in winter or fall because he hasn't built his towers there yet.
This is only going off of the
legend.
Of the legend, but he was building towers, so it's a good guess.
Well, and I love that Tinkerbell brings up here, oh, so now you believe the legend?
Right. And Fawn's like, no.
Listen, we don't have much to go on, okay? I don't know if you've noticed, but the sky is green. All right, there's a lot happening.
Can we not gotcha media me right now? Can we just...
Yeah. What are you, Tinkerbell, Fox News? Come on, we have a NeverBeast to find. So Tinkerbell decides to go take Winter, I assume because her sister's there. She doesn't say that?
That is the implication that is not said. I love that her sister, Periwinkle, is not even mentioned.
You know who else isn't mentioned? Or we don't even see him. We don't even get a wink and a nod to Terrence? Is that what his name was?
Terrence. Terrence is gone. It took... wait. He was introduced... He was in the second movie was the first one where he was big. But then ever since then, we have gotten like less and less Terrence as we go on. So it's, been 3 movies? He's petering out of existence.
Hey, petering out. Making room for what we all know is going to happen, which is Tinkerbell's going to, date Vidya.
I mean, it'd kind of be nice, right? They have chemistry.
Then
Tinkerbell fucking died.
Oh, right, yes, because she finds the NeverBeast, and he kills her.
He's got all green eyes now, and it freaks her out, and he whacks her with her tail, and she's left unconscious in the winter.
Yeah, Fawn arrives just in time to see the NeverBeast leaving the crime scene.
The Fawn shows up, punches Tinkerbell, and she's fine. I don't think that that's what we should be teaching kids.
I don't know how fairy anatomy works. I don't know what maybe that's what CPR is for fairies, right? Like your heart beats fast enough, just give it a punch, and if that doesn't work, what can you do? They're like hummingbirds.
Nyx is like chasing down the NeverBeast, but she gets sidetracked because she has to protect Tinkerbell and save a life. She's so fucking mad about this.
She's furious. Like, I don't know what she was gonna do with her tiny, stupid little fucking quill.
Small.
Yeah, she's just gonna put it into his foot. Like, he can fly now. It's not a problem.
Oh, that's true. He got his wings. Oh, and he got struck by the lightning, right? So
yes, he got struck by the lightning. The horns grow in so cool.
The horns. This is the first bit where I was like, this is like Hellboy. Because he has the... have you seen Hellboy?
Yes. Not the new one, but yeah.
Yeah, the original one is what I was talking about. I'm sure they do something like it in the new one, too, because it's right from the comics.
Mm-hmm.
There is a bit where he is... I don't remember if he's actually, like, in hell, or if it's just, like, his, like, most real self or something. But there is a bit where his horns are grown in, curved backwards, and there's a glowing crown above it. The NeverBeast looks literally exactly like that. Like, he looks like a demon child, and it's pretty rad.
It's so cool. I don't know where this design came from, because he's got bat wings, he's got these massive horns. It's awesome.
It's like
it's so good.
It's like when they started making this movie, they were like, hey, do you know that this isn't getting like the little boys? Could we get the little boys into this? Could we get like, I don't know, a big demon monster?
we're gonna sell a NeverBeast action figure.
I bet that action figure would look really cool.
Let me look it up. NeverBeast toys. Oh wow, this is adorable.
Now I gotta see it.
Oh, this is just a little guy.
Oh, that is adorable. Oh, there is a weird one on Etsy.
Yeah, I don't like the one on Etsy. I don't like the homemade one. I do like this. I love this guy. I want to see if I can get my hands on one of these guys.
That's really great. Yeah, I like this. Does look like Appa, though. Okay.
It does.
To a point where they should probably be glad Nickelodeon didn't call.
Yo, honestly, that's probably why he looked like such shit in that live action movie. Oh, wait, no, that doesn't make any sense. That movie came out like 5 years before this one.
It doesn't track.
Damn.
What were we saying?
Yo, I can get one of these for $20.
Tinkerbell is... I'm trying to keep going. Andy's doing...
Yeah, we got a show to do. So, Tinkerbell is hospitalized, unconscious, in a coma. And this Dr. Fairy, who I don't think we've seen before...
I don't think so. She might have been in the other one, but I don't know.
She looks like she walked off the set of Recess. Like, her nose is so big.
And it's weird. Every variation for the fairies is weird because mostly the background fairies look exactly the same. So anytime a new fairy model is introduced, they're like, okay, well, why'd you put effort into this one?
She shakes her head, and at first I think, oh, she's dead.
I told you, Tinkerbell died. This is the last Disney fairy movie for a reason.
Yeah, that's true. But then she's like, no, she's fine. She just needs to rest and not fly for a couple days.
Mm-hmm. Wow, which she immediately flies off, which is very Tinkerbell, actually.
I know, right? She's like, I bet she has no consideration for her own health and safety.
So Fawn leaves to go betray the NeverBeast.
Betray him.
Like you need to do in these kinds of movies.
Mm-hmm.
And because the NeverBeast... And see, what bothered me about this scene is that, okay, the NeverBeast hurt Tinkerbell. And, sure. But I feel like you have to forgive an amount of just an animal being an animal. Even if it's not necessarily a dangerous animal. Do you know how many kitten scratches I have?
And this is a thing that you hear from park rangers all the time, right? 90% of the time... bison and elk, big herbivores like that, are harmless. And I'll throw horses in there too. 90% of the time, they're harmless. But you're talking about a 1 to 2 ton creature. If that thing moves a little bit too fast in a way you don't expect, you're going to get hurt.
Yeah, if you just get swatted or bumped by one of these things, you're going to be on the ground, maybe with a broken bone. And that thing is... I don't know how big the NeverBeast is, because it's hard to tell. But it's...
Scale with fairies is tough.
Right. It's at least bison-sized, right?
I think it's probably a little bit smaller, actually, just because she is about the size of his, nose?
Yeah.
Tough to say, but assuming a fairy is... Gosh, if they're hand-sized, they're maybe 4 to 6 inches tall.
But they were bigger than that in the other one with the humans.
God, yeah, that's right.
It's hard to figure it out. But if we assume it is around bison size, maybe a little smaller. I mean, that's still 100 Tinkerbells, maybe 200.
That's a massive.
It's just it's so much bigger. There's going to be accidents.
It's going to do some damage, and maybe there's something to be said about this. This is clearly an intelligent creature.
It understands everything Fawn says, at least.
Yeah, but it's still an animal. It's not... it can't talk.
Mm-hmm.
So I assume it can't be more intelligent than Cheese.
Oh, Cheese the mouse!
Yeah, Cheese the mouse, who we do see in this movie.
Who I forgot about. I was sitting here
who the
more
fuck?
Intelligent than Cheese.
Yeah, those fungal cultures, man, that make cheese happen, they think. But
Fawn decides that he needs to be betrayed. So she betrays him, and I am so mad at this net for working.
The thing about this net, right, is that they had another smaller net they were carrying around before.
It was so small, and they're flying around with it, and it's in my notes, what do they expect to do with this net? And then when they throw this at the net, it's so much bigger. It just covers the entirety of the NeverBeast. And even though it's this massive animal, it's apparently weighed down enough that they just can't move. And it made me so mad. Where did they get this one?
This, to me, the NeverBeast not fighting back is me going, oh shit, this is a Mighty Joe Young situation. I don't know if you've ever seen this terrible movie.
I don't think so.
But, like, this is him not fighting back, right? Like, if he wanted to, he would have destroyed them. The Scout Fairies would have been reduced to rubble. They would have been eliminated from fairy politics in this one moment. But instead, he's like, well, I can't hurt these creatures. I am here to protect them. So I just have to not do anything. I just have to let them pepper spray me. And it's depressing.
Yeah, they hit him with that sleeping powder made from poppies that what's-her-face, Doc Ock made.
Oh, she's deep in the Scout Fairies now.
Yeah, must be, right? Good job. Now she's working with cops. So glad we got her back in society.
In society.
The NeverBeast is taken off. Nyx tells Fawn that she did the right thing, and I really wanted Fawn to, like, slap her. I was like, there is no way she cares what you think is the right thing.
So I was watching this movie with my partner who was sitting next to me, and before she said that, she like walks up to her and I was like, "You did the right thing," and then she said it. And my partner started laughing. I was so furious. I was like, "You don't have the right to tell this to her."
Right. So she's sitting there fucking bawling in like a little ball. The storm is getting worse because these geniuses only had one page of illustration to work off of.
Yeah, I assumed there was like an entire book.
Right.
And all that was left after 900 years was this page.
And the hospital is being evacuated.
Makes sense.
I mean, it makes a certain amount of sense. But frankly, there's got to be one hospital in the whole of Fairy Hollow. It should be secure already.
It should be in the safest place. No, absolutely. But like this is a thing that I've heard about in like, you know, like especially during hurricane season where hospitals have to move patients from their rooms into the hallways.
Oh, sure.
I don't think that's what this is, but
oh, I don't know. They all have to go like underground. I don't know if the hospital's like too airy.
Yeah, the hospital looks like it's underground though. Like there's dirt floor.
So Tinkerbell goes to find Fawn because now she's up enough.
Yeah, because bed rest is for cowards.
Bed rest is for cowards. You heard it here first. Get your COVID vaccine.
We get the worst flashback I think any of these movies have ever had.
The flashback is hilarious. Just before we get to it, I do want to mention about this storm, though. This is actually a pretty chill storm. There's some lightning, mostly because of the NeverBeast. It is being collected in these towers. But there's no wind or rain. It seems kind of fine. I don't understand why they didn't put rain. I know they can do rain. It was the best bit of that one movie.
Yeah, maybe they just, I don't know, maybe they just kind of didn't have the budget for it. Rain is expensive.
Maybe it would have made it to, like, low res almost, right?
Oh, I see what you mean.
To, like, have it on the screen, especially because when you're zoomed in on the one fairy, it works, but maybe if you zoom out to the NeverBeast, the like CGI wouldn't work as well.
Yeah, they don't have the physics to handle like that much water on that much fur, I bet.
Yeah, heck, maybe that's just it. Maybe they didn't want to do wet NeverBeast. Maybe that would have been too hard.
Oh, I can absolutely see it being, we can't do a wet NeverBeast.
Like, you're ready for the big rain scene, and the animators just turn around with horrified looks on their faces.
The what?
So, yes, you want to describe this flashback scene because it's great.
Tinkerbell shows up to Fawn, is like, Fawn, what have you done? And she's like, I had to turn him in. He was too dangerous to be left alone. And she was like, he hurt you. To which Tinkerbell says, no, Fawn, he saved my life. Flashback, 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 flashback. And we see that what actually happened was Tinkerbell went to confront the NeverBeast. He turned around, lightning struck the tree like 2 feet to the left of her, and she missed it somehow. And the NeverBeast was like, all right, time to save a fairy's life. So he turns around and like 100 mile an hour slaps his tail into her, knocking her out of the way of this tree. Thank God it didn't land on her. And then she falls unconscious from the internal trauma, I assume, of being hit by this tail.
Yes. We mentioned this before. We talked about this because the scene is great.
It's absurd.
This scene kind of makes the movie for me for, like, how much they, like, fucked up this scene. It's great. the NeverBeast could have stopped the tree from falling on Tinkerbell by stopping the tree. The NeverBeast did not need to hit her with the amount of force he hit her with. And Fawn should have seen the fallen tree.
There should have been ample evidence.
There should have been a giant smoking tree, like, right next to Tinkerbell. And there just wasn't in that scene. Oh, it was great.
Because, well, they had to hold it for the twist. You can't just give it all away.
It's so absurd. There doesn't need to be a twist.
It could have even just been, he didn't do anything. The lightning struck near me and it a tree exploded and it launched me like 50 feet away. A thing that actually happens to people.
Right.
Like,
and if you want the NeverBeast to still save her, he could freaking get in the way of the fallen tree or something.
Yeah, like maybe the tree starts falling and like he catches it, but it's not enough and like some of it hits her. Something.
Right.
Just, there are a lot of ways that this could have been done. While Tinkerbell is explaining this to Fawn, Nyx is yelling at the NeverBeast.
This beast is drugged out of its mind, and she's like, "Stop the storm!"
Yeah, like a mayor shooting bullets into a hurricane. I order you to stop this now! But then she sees off in the distance that these spires are collecting the lightning, and she gets a glimmer in her eye, and she's like, I know what I must do, and she leaves. And at one point, I think one of the other scout fairies is like, hey, the storm is getting worse. And she's like, we follow the plan. We have to stick to the plan. And the scout fairy says, well, you should tell the storm that, which I think is great.
She says, like, does the storm know the plan? This is when I put in my notes. Turns out animals don't cause storms. We're all surprised.
Who would have known?
The thing about this movie is it makes me so mad at Nyx and the other scout fairies that it kind of heals over the like weird anti-science thing that sometimes the fairy movies get. Because it's like, they had just investigated, if they just listened to science.
If they had just listened to their one animal specialist, right? Like, right. This is peak Jurassic Park, except the opposite.
Life, it's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. Good. It turns out life is okay. God, I am baffled that Jeff Goldblum wasn't in any of these movies.
He could have been a good, weird, tall fairy.
Oh, right? Like a gangly, like he would have been one of those MCs?
Yes.
Nyx in this film, voiced by Rosario Dawson, been in a ton of stuff. I can't even begin to tell you. Like, she's got one of the most extensive IMDb's I have ever seen in television. But also we have Jennifer Goodwin as Fawn, I believe replacing the previous voice actress. Jennifer Goodwin, who we might all remember as Judy Hopps in Zootopia. Fawn's deduced it. She's figured it out. He's not here to destroy Pixie Hollow. He's here to protect it.
Real binary situation, by the way.
He can't just be here as well.
He's not here to destroy Pixie Hollow. He's just an animal.
He's an animal doing a thing an animal does, and it happens to help us.
It'd be great if she released him to, like, save Pixie Hollow, and he just pooped. Just wandered off.
I gotta go build more towers. Yes. All right. She tells Tinkerbell to go hide, and at this point I wrote in my notes, I hope Fawn dies. Because I have this movie, like, down to the T.
You know everything that's gonna happen.
We get another great line, actually, here, because I think all of her friends show up at this point.
All of her friends, yes. So a couple of them show up, and she says we have to free Gruff, and the others show up to, like, get the net off of them, is what happens. And they all try to get Gruff into, like, a hollow, and he's like, nah, I've got to save the world.
Fawn decides to go with him because he's blind. He can't see because of the poppy stuff.
Yeah.
Sleep.
Real gross side effect of their sleep powder, huh?
Yeah.
Seems like they shouldn't be using it.
No, it really seems like they shouldn't. I don't know, right? If somebody released like a jungle cat onto Neverland, right? Like there was just like a fucking whatever the tiger's name from Jungle Book running around.
Shere Khan?
Yeah, if there was a Shere Khan running around Neverland, I can almost justify the need to have like scout fairies, but there aren't any.
But there aren't, and here's the thing that bothers me about scout fairies. is they don't seem to be they don't do anything in the day-to-day. They seem to only be there for when there's like a crazy, terrible threat. But here's the thing, I know they don't solve crazy, terrible threats because that's what Tinkerbell does.
Because she's been doing it for the last 5 movies.
Right. I sure didn't see those scout fairies
standing guard
with
the winter fairies
against the winter. I didn't even see them passing out blankets.
There is an amazing moment here when Fawn she's resolved herself. I'm going to go save the world. Me and Gruff are going to go save the world. And then she stops and goes, that said, if things don't roll my way, Syl, you can have my rock collection. And it is an amazing line. One of the funniest jokes in the movie.
It's an amazing line because Silver Mist looks really happy and then immediately really sad.
Yeah. But
she's
also,
like,
nobody else gets anything. and I guess everyone else can fight over the rest of my inheritance.
Just make sure Silver Mist gets the rocks.
Gets the rock collection, yeah.
And so the NeverBeast is like flying through these pillars, getting struck by lightning, which is going to stop the storm somehow.
Unclear if the lightning is making him stronger.
Maybe it is unclear. It feels like a give and take. He couldn't fly before he got hit by lightning again, and then he got his wings. So like, or is it just like a natural reaction that his body has to like danger?
Yeah. It's hard to tell, but he seems to both be getting stronger and weaker every time he gets struck by lightning.
It's like not fun, but it's like a good burn.
It's a hit that he needs. It's the high that he chases. But then, oh no, at the last tower.
This fairy cop is so bad at her job. She could not be worse at her job. Every single moment where she has a chance to be okay at her job, she's just bad at it.
I legit thought that maybe she was going to show up and, like, I don't know, shoot a gun at this beast, right? Like, anything would have been better than what she actually does, which is to destroy the tower. Without the tower, this lightning gets to strike all willy-nilly.
Right, the lightning no longer has a center, it's just shooting everywhere. And so Fawn realizes there's only one thing to do. They have to fly into, like, the eye of the storm, where the NeverBeast can get hit by lightning a bunch of times and absorb it all.
So that they can catch the lightning closer to the source. Because she notices that the lightning is only coming from the center, which is ridiculous, but sure.
It's a magic storm, whatever. A lot of Pixie Hollow is on fire now. This is not directly dealt with. It feels like Nyx is terrible at her job.
She looks around at, like, this forest fire that she has caused and is like, am I a bad guy?
Wait a second.
Am I the bad guy?
Am I the bad guy? Guys, wait.
Hold on. Am I the bad guy? Yes.
Damn.
This would have been a great moment for Fawn to, like, I would have loved it if Fawn slapped her and been like, you gotta snap out of it and go do your job. Go protect people. Instead, she just tells her, there's nothing about it now. Go hide.
Yeah.
Be sad about it later.
And then Fawn fucking died.
Yeah, they saved the world.
She flies into the sky. There's a bunch of lightning. The NeverBeast absorbs enough lightning that the clouds explode. Which, okay.
Maybe that's what's supposed to happen after he collects all the lightning. He can, like, AoE, like, release, kind of like Black Panther, right?
Yeah, sure.
Just release all that built up energy and dissipate the storm.
Maybe. It's possible that is what is supposed to happen. Or maybe it just reacted that way because he'd never been, like, in the air when he did it before. Either way,
that's true.
There's a big explosion. He's not looking so hot as he falls out of the sky. Again, pretty Hellboy, because now those are just broke.
Oh, the wings are gnarled to shit, too. It looks gross. It looks bad.
And Fawn is falling out of the sky. They are caught by, the fairies. But Fawn is dead. Like, she's dead.
She is stone cold. Like, this doctor comes over and is like...
comes over.
And she's like, there's nothing we can do. Fairy medical science has not progressed to the point where we can do anything about dead people. Just like human medical science.
I mean, we can do something about people who are dead a little bit, or mostly dead.
Oh, she's dead, Tony.
Yeah, you're right.
roll credits. You get the feeling that maybe they meant to do this to Tinkerbell, but they couldn't quite get away with it. And so to just end the movie here, though, bold, right? Like, never seen this.
And then they closed down Disneytoons for some reason.
And then, yeah, I know, right? Like, they were like, we can't let them get away with this again.
No, so the NeverBeast has its vision back, and, like, sadly approaches Fawn, and the residual static electricity seems to jolt her back to life.
Mm-hmm.
Which is not really how that works. But it makes as much sense as a tear.
Yeah, it makes more sense than a tear, I would argue. Like,
wiggling my hand up and down, but yeah, kind of, maybe.
Because here's the thing, Tony, right? Is a little salt isn't going to do anything for anybody. But electricity might actually do something.
Okay, who has actually revived somebody with a tear, out of curiosity?
I
Besides Rapunzel, who it worked for. Like,
which is magic.
She's magic.
Yeah, she's magic. It's got to be a trope, right?
It's definitely you know what?
I'm going. Swiss Army Tears.
Swiss Army Tears?
This looks like it's the one. TV Tropes is kind of like the worst website to go for this shit, but like it's also the only website.
So many of them.
It's also the only one. I'm only going to look at Western animation.
Disney likes this trope. Okay, Belle does it.
No, that doesn't count because it's her declaration of love that breaks the spell.
That's true. It happened in Lilo and Stitch 2. Stitch has a glitch and it was a crime.
It happens in Brave, but I think that's just also her saying she loves her mom and not actually the tear.
And in Frozen, I don't think that's... that doesn't count. Frozen. Come on, give me something else.
I actually think this does count because...
No, because the act of true love is... She cries after she's frozen. The act of true love prevented her from dying.
So it feels like that Rapunzel is the only time
that Disney at least has done this.
Because every other time it was actually true love.
Interesting. Although in Bambi 2, the Great Prince sheds a manly tear for his injured son.
Who is quickly... That doesn't count. He was fine.
I think the one that people actually remember is probably Beauty and the Beast.
I just don't think it counts.
It's fine if you don't think it counts. I think it might genuinely be where we get it, though. It's done in other places.
That's pretty late in Disney canon, though, right? That's like 1994.
It doesn't even have listed stuff earlier.
We have 50 years of Disney history in which they didn't do that. They did it once and they got made fun of it forever.
Yeah, it might just be from Beauty and the Beast.
I find it both baffling and it also makes total sense to me that they did it once and then it just, I think almost like mimetically just people associated it with Disney.
Yeah, and it just got everywhere else.
But to the point where they had to make fun of it themselves, right? Like in Rapunzel, but like they had only ever done it the one other time.
And that wasn't even the point.
Wow.
That's kind of great.
We've solved like a mystery that no one ever had. Sherlock Holmes could never.
What the heck were we talking about? Oh yeah,
she's alive.
She's alive. And there's this little scene after this where the NeverBeast is helping to
rebuild
town back together. Rebuild.
Yeah.
And he gets sleepy. And Fawn, despite everything is good at her job, recognizes that this is him going into hibernation. And then we get, it's not like viscerally, like, cry sad, but we get a very sad...
This is a funeral, right? Like,
it's a funeral.
This would be an amazing Star Trek episode, but like if I had to say goodnight to a being that slept for 900 years, we're essentially saying goodbye forever, right? Because I'm gonna die. So as far as I'm concerned, this person is dying and dead. And we're never gonna interact again after this moment.
It struck me as very sad that the NeverBeast would never see Fawn again. After they went to the trouble, like melting his heart basically and building up this trust and saving everybody, and now this is just it.
Giving him a reason to do the thing he's been doing for who knows how many thousands of years, right? outside of just, well, this is what I have to do. This is almost a chthonic being who has, I assume, existed in a state of like endless Sisyphean, just building this tower, dissipating the storm, and going back to sleep without thanks until now.
Because what has everybody done about it? They've just been probably scared about the storm, and then it passed like every other storm. Well,
but then they blamed him too. They thought he was up to it.
He has formed this relationship, and it is gone now. And so they have this funeral where they like walk him back to his little hole. They have each given like a little gift to him.
They give him a cloud pillow and other lesser gifts.
There's a fountain, which I did think was nice because like you're gonna want to drink after a nap like that.
Oh, absolutely. I can't imagine how deep. Like, I'll go to sleep for 4 hours and I'm like, oh, God, I need some water.
Fucking Nick says he has her respect. It's like,
get the fuck out of here.
And then Fawn says goodbye and he falls asleep, and that's literally the end of the movie. Cut to credits. It is amazing. It's not the kind of ending that is like deeply visceral and like makes me sob. But it's like
the restraint.
I like can't stop thinking about it. Like it's a real thinker of a sad ending, and that's kind of amazing.
No, it is. I have never in the entirety that like I have seen a movie that has an ending like this, right? Where somebody has to go away forever, right? Mm-hmm. Seen this amount of restraint. We're ending it here. We're ending it at goodbye. We don't get a montage of where are they now. We don't get like this is a thing that anime does a lot, where it'll just cut to them waking up like 1,000 years later, right? Or whatever. Like we don't get any of that. It's just it's over, and you have to accept that it's over. So I think the part of it that hits me the hardest, right, is without maybe they did know, right, but ending this movie on goodbye is also, goodbye to Disneytoons. It's goodbye
to Disneytoons. Goodbye to this series.
Goodbye to this type of direct-to-video movie.
Yeah, this is a good movie. The fact that there's never a Disneytoon again kind of blows.
This studio doesn't exist anymore, and like this. To be fair, this happened at a time when Disney was rapidly downsizing its animation departments in multiple fronts. I know a lot of animators in Disney Animation Canada also lost their jobs around this time. So yeah, it sucks. Especially because this movie is the prettiest that they've done too. Yeah, it looks good. It's gorgeous.
I love the design of the NeverBeast. The backgrounds are great. The character design isn't terrible. I always hesitate to give these movies enough credit on character design.
They're
stuck with this sort of like pinchy face but really big cheeks, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. And everybody has the same body type except for like the queen, and she's just tall.
Well, Fairy Mary, who we haven't seen, and also Barry Gary, who we haven't seen in a while.
Yes, the joke characters get to have different body types, and that's kind of another problem.
Yeah, but it's nice to see them walking around. This is, I think, also definitely the most, like, all of the background fairies look the same. Like, we don't even get, like, a Terrence to look at, or a Winter Fairy at all. But I liked it. I liked it a lot. What a great ending. What a high.
The ending was so strong that I feel like even though I quite liked the movie while watching it, like, I never had anything I hated about it, it made it really good in my head. Like, it made the whole movie really good. Even if sometimes I was just sitting there like, this is fine. A good ending could do that,
No, yeah, for sure. It's a thing. I've lamented this before. Things don't really know how to end anymore. It's nice that there was such conclusivity.
Especially because it was the last movie.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to Direct-to-Video VHS. I have been your host, Sonny Robusto.
I have been your host, Andy Reyes.
You can find me on Twitter at TheaterBats, and you can find my comic at inspiredbytrueevents.org.
You can find me on Twitter at royalty_valens, and you can also find me at my other podcast that I do called Time Honored Pictures at timehonoredpictures.com. I am in the middle of editing the next episode, so that should be out. It's going to be out today or tomorrow.
the most entertaining thing to me about your last episode was that you forgot to plug this episode, and Mavis had to tell you to do it. I mean, not this episode, this podcast. It was great. I found that so funny, and I was like, I'm the only one who thinks it's funny.
No, yeah, it was a very just like, oh gosh, yeah, I was not in the headspace to like self-promote,
yeah. Speaking of which, you can find more direct-to-video stuff at directto.video. There is a cutscene on there now. A cut argument where we talk about Doc Ock for 10 minutes.
It was so long. It was so long.
Let me see here. Let me just pull up directto.video and see how long that video is.
I feel like it felt like it was 30 minutes, I think, in recording.
Oh, it's only 5. I must have cut some stuff out.
I was going to say, I feel like it was a lot longer than that. And that was before we got to confirm, I think, that the esteemed Alfred Molina is coming back for whatever the fuck this next Spider-Man movie is going to be. Thanks, as always, to the esteemed Lee Rosa here for the song Planet E off the album Trappist 1.
Yep. Next week we are going... Next week. Whoa! Oh, my heart. Next time we're going to watch The Return of Jafar, a movie which I am fairly sure has almost nothing to recommend it.
I am so excited.
I am the ghost of John Smith. Huh. She's Snow White in Once Upon a Time.
Oh, is she? I didn't know that. Because, again, I have never seen it.
Did I click on the wrong person?
Jennifer Goodwin?
Jennifer Goodwin as Fawn. Once Upon a Time is her, 5th thing down here between Steps and Zootopia.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, yeah, it's between Steps and Zootopia. My bad. I completely missed it, yeah.
I was really confused about that because she's, one of the main characters. It's what do you mean?
I wouldn't know.
Well, the story is about Snow White. She's one of the main characters.
I think the lady from House is the main character, right?
Is she the evil queen?
I was going to say, she's the doctor in House, and I was like, that's not what he's asking.
I don't know which lady in House either. Do you mean House's boss?
No. She's one of his lead underlings. Every time I look at Once Upon a Time, she's in every fucking trailer that I've ever seen. She plays Emma Swan. Jennifer Morrison. Yeah, she's got her Emma Swan hair on her IMDb picture. That must be, that's her IMDb picture is from a Once Upon a Time shoot. You can see it behind her. She's the audience's way in, the person who shows up to this weird place and was something's wrong here. That is a beautiful haircut, actually. Yeah, wow. Yeah, how do they do that? It's a freaking that's bananas, haircut, right? I don't know. Yeah, it's bananas. Do you think it's just fake? Extensions? Yeah, there was a bit where somebody asked Jamala Al-Jamil. Somebody asked her how she gets her hair, to look so good on The Good Place, and so she did a video where she took off the extensions. It was it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. And she's very it's all bullshit. It's all Photoshop. It's all and what she likes to do is she likes to be honest about women's beauty specifically, which is great. It's fake for TV. It's okay that your hair doesn't look like this because it's not real. I am scrolling through all of these photos of Once Upon a Time, and it is wild to me that she is wearing normal clothes, and everyone else seems to be wearing all leather everything. I don't know what's happening with all these. There is a lot of pictures that seem to be from one shoot where everybody else is wearing all leather everything, and she's wearing normal clothes and making out with Hook. She's holding his hook, which I think is a little insensitive. He has a hand. Walk on the other side of him. Here's her with a sword. I don't know why I'm looking at these now. It's your fault. Yeah, at some point we were talking about a Tinkerbell movie. I don't know how we got this far. I have to cut all this out. This will be probably at the end. People will be like, why are they looking at all this stuff? And cut. Yeah, she does get a sword. Okay, I'm gone. I've closed it.